Today, we're dedicating the entire countdown to one of the most storied and genuinely purposeful names in Swiss watchmaking, Breitling. Born in the Saint-Imier Valley in 1884, Breitling has spent nearly a century and a half building an identity so firmly rooted in the worlds of aviation, professional diving, and precision chronometry that its watches carry the weight of that heritage in every case line, every bezel graduation, and every movement specification. These are not watches designed primarily for the collector's cabinet or the boardroom. They are instruments conceived for the cockpit, the ocean, and the racetrack. And that professional DNA runs through every reference in the catalog with an authenticity that cannot be manufactured or retrospectively applied. From accessible everyday tool watches to grand aviation chronographs of extraordinary mechanical complexity, these are 10 of the finest Breitling references you need to know. Let's get into it. Number 10. Breitling Colt Automatic A17388. The Breitling Colt Automatic reference, A17388, is the watch that makes the Breitling proposition most accessible and most immediately compelling for first-time encounters with the brand. A no-nonsense, professionally specified sport watch that delivers the Swiss manufacturer's commitment to build quality, water resistance, and instrument watch legibility at an entry point that opens the door to Breitling's broader world without requiring the investment that the brand's headline, aviation and diving references demand. The Colt's design philosophy is rooted in military and professional sport watch tradition, clean, functional, and built around the twin priorities of legibility and durability that define the instrument watch genre at its most purposeful. The 44mm stainless steel case with its combination of brushed and polished surfaces carries a confident, assertive presence on the wrist that communicates professional tool watch credentials without theatrical excess, while the bold dial with its applied hour markers, broad luminous hands, and unidirectional rotating bezel provides the practical functionality that the Colt name, a reference to Breitling's long relationship with military aviation, implies and delivers. Water-resistant to 200 meters with a screw-locked crown, the A017388 carries professional diving watch credentials alongside its sport watch versatility, making it a genuinely multi-environment companion rather than a single context specialist. The in-house inspired automatic movement provides reliable Swiss precision within a package that represents honest, straightforward Breitling value at its most accessible. The Breitling Colt Automatic A17388 retails for approximately $2,900 USD. Number 9. Breitling Superocean Heritage II B01 AB0127. The Breitling Superocean Heritage II B01 reference. AB0127 is a masterclass in how to honor a classic design with genuine respect and horological intelligence. A modern reinterpretation of the original 1957 Superocean that captures the visual warmth and purposeful character of Breitling's mid-century diving heritage while delivering the movement quality, material refinement, and construction standards that contemporary collectors rightfully expect from a Swiss manufacturer at this price level. The Heritage II's most immediately distinctive feature is the combination of its vintage-inspired aesthetic vocabulary with thoroughly modern execution. The rounded cushion-adjacent case proportions, the domed crystal, and the broad bezel recall the design confidence of 1950s professional dive watches with a fidelity that feels scholarly rather than superficial, while the finishing quality on the stainless steel case surfaces and the depth of the dial colors speak entirely to contemporary manufacturing standards. The B20 designation references the Breitling Caliber 20 movement, developed in partnership with Tudor's parent movement supplier and delivering a 70-hour power reserve with exceptional reliability, an upgrade from previous heritage references that substantially elevates the watch's mechanical proposition and confirms Breitling's commitment to continuous improvement within its heritage collections. Available in striking dial configurations including deep navy, vibrant turquoise, and classic black, each variant of the AB0112 carries the Superocean Heritage's vintage soul with its own chromatic personality and visual conviction. The Breitling Superocean Heritage II B01 AB0112 retails for approximately $4,300 USD. Number 8. Breitling Chronomat B01 AB0134. The Breitling Chronomat B01 reference. AB0134 is the watch that most completely distills the Chronomat family's DNA into its most versatile and universally wearable configuration. A 42mm expression of Breitling's flagship sport chronograph that achieves the difficult balance between professional instrument watch functionality and refined daily companion wearability with a precision that the larger Chronomat variants, for all their considerable appeal, cannot quite replicate across the full spectrum of wearing contexts. The Chronomat was born in 1984 as a collaboration between Breitling and the Freck Tricolori, the Italian Air Force's prestigious aerobatic display team. And that aviation performance heritage is embedded in every design element from the rider tabs on the unidirectional rotating bezel to the bold dial architecture with its 3 chronograph registers and tachymeter. Scale. At 42mm, those aviation instrument references sit within proportions that transition from cockpit to conference room to weekend wear, with a natural ease that confirms the 42mm as the definitive Chronomat size for collectors who need a single watch to serve every chapter of a varied and active life. The Breitling Caliber B01. The in-house chronograph movement that Breitling spent years developing, and that represents the manufacturer's most significant movement engineering achievement, powers the AB0134 with a column wheel mechanism, vertical clutch, and COSC-certified precision, delivering a 70-hour power reserve that sets the benchmark for in-house Swiss chronograph movements at this price point. The Breitling Chronomat B01 42 AB34 retails for approximately $8,100 USD. Number 7. Breitling Navitimer B01 AB0127. The Breitling Navitimer 1 B01 reference. A1 is one of the most historically significant and genuinely iconic watch designs in the entire history of Swiss watchmaking. A chronograph whose design has remained in continuous production since 1952 and whose circular slide rule bezel has become the single most recognizable visual signature in aviation watch design, carried on the wrists of professional pilots and passionate collectors across 7 decades without ever losing its relevance, its character, or its fundamental functional purpose. The Navitimer's origin story is inseparable from the history of professional aviation. Designed in collaboration with the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association as a complete wrist-worn flight computer, the original Navitimer provided pilots with the ability to perform every critical in-flight calculation: fuel consumption, rate of climb, airspeed conversion, distance, time, using the circular slide rule bezel with a speed and reliability that made it the definitive professional aviation instrument for an era before electronic flight management systems rendered those calculations automatic. The AB0127 brings that legendary design framework into the modern era with the full authority of Breitling's in-house Caliber B01, the manufacturer's most accomplished movement, delivering column wheel chronograph operation, a vertical clutch for clean chronograph engagement, and a COSC-certified 70-hour power reserve through a movement architecture developed entirely within Breitling's own engineering facility. The 43mm case maintains the Navitimer's traditional proportions, and the busy, richly detailed dial, with its slide rule, 3 chronograph registers, and multiple scales, wears every bit of its 70-year history with complete and justified confidence. The Breitling Navitimer 1 B01 AB0127 retails for approximately $8,700 USDs. Number 6. Breitling Avenger II GMT A32390. The Breitling Avenger II GMT reference. A32390 is the most uncompromisingly rugged and operationally serious watch in Breitling's professional tool watch portfolio. A timepiece of such robust physical construction and bold, assertive design presence that it communicates its professional credentials instantaneously and without ambiguity, wearing the confidence of a watch built to function in the most demanding conditions that professional aviation, military, and expedition environments can produce. The Avenger family has always occupied the most extreme end of Breitling's design vocabulary: larger, more architecturally forceful, and more deliberately tool-oriented than even the Navitimer or Chronomat families. And the Avenger II GMT expresses that philosophy at its most concentrated and purposeful. The 45mm stainless steel case with its reinforced crown guards, screw-locked crown, and 300-meter water-resistance specification goes well beyond conventional pilot's watch requirements to produce a watch that could serve equally as a professional dive instrument. a breadth of environmental capability that reflects the Avenger's design brief as a watch built for professionals who operate across multiple demanding environments rather than specialists in any single one. Number 5. Breitling Superocean 44. A017387. The Breitling Superocean 44 reference. A17387 is a professional dive watch of absolute conviction and serious underwater credentials. A timepiece that approaches the demanding brief of a working diver's instrument with the same uncompromising commitment to specification and function that Breitling has applied to its aviation and professional tool watches across the entire span of the manufacturer's history, producing a result that earns its place in the professional diving context through genuine engineering rather than aesthetic suggestion. The Superocean 44's specification reads like a professional diving equipment checklist, executed with Swiss precision. 500-meter water resistance certified to ISO 6425 professional dive watch standards, a unidirectional rotating bezel with 60-minute graduation for elapsed dive time measurement, a screw-locked crown, and a luminescent dial architecture with oversized hour plots and broad luminous hands that deliver the immediate, unambiguous time reading that the reduced visibility of deep diving environments demands, and that the Superocean delivers with exceptional clarity and consistency. Number 4. Breitling Premier B01 Chronograph 42 AB0118. The Breitling Premier B01 Chronograph 42 reference. AB0118 is the watch that reveals the full breadth of Breitling's design capabilities. A sophisticated, elegantly resolved dress chronograph that applies the manufacturer's in-house B01 movement and Swiss finishing quality to a design vocabulary of refined vintage-inspired elegance that stands in deliberate and flattering contrast to the professional tool watch aesthetic that defines the majority of Breitling's catalog, proving that the manufacturer's engineering ambitions are fully matched by its capacity for design restraint and formal elegance. The Premier collection draws its inspiration from Breitling's own 1940s archive, a period when the manufacturer produced exquisitely finished chronographs for a clientele that valued the precision of a Swiss instrument as highly as the elegance of its presentation. And the AB0118 honors that heritage with a design sophistication and historical sensitivity that rewards collectors who know the archive while remaining immediately and universally appealing to those encountering it fresh. Number 3. Breitling Navitimer B01 Chronograph 46 AB0127. The Breitling Navitimer B01 Chronograph 46 reference. AB0127 is the Navitimer at its most theatrically commanding and technically ambitious, a 46mm expression of the world's most famous aviation chronograph that embraces scale as a design philosophy. Presenting the Navitimer's extraordinary dial complexity and aviation instrument heritage with a physical presence so bold and so unapologetically large that it functions as a statement of commitment to the watch's professional aviation identity that cannot be misread or overlooked. The decision to build the Navitimer at 46mm is not a casual one. It is a declaration that the slide rule bezel's functional elements, the 3 chronograph subregisters, and the multiple scales that populate the Navitimer's dial deserve to be presented at a size where every graduation, every scale marking, and every piece of functional information can be read quickly, accurately, and without physical effort in the operational conditions for which they were designed. Number 2. Breitling Endurance Pro X82310. The Breitling Endurance Pro Reference X82310 is the most radical and forward-looking watch Breitling has produced in recent memory. A lightweight performance chronograph that departs almost entirely from the manufacturer's traditional stainless steel and precious metal case vocabulary to embrace Breitling's proprietary, high-performance polymer composite material. In a design explicitly conceived for the demands of endurance athletics, professional sport, and the active lifestyle context that represents watchmaking's most contested and rapidly evolving market segment. The Endurance Pro's design brief starts from a completely different set of priorities than any other Breitling reference, where the Navitimer begins with aviation heritage and the Superocean with professional diving credentials. The Endurance Pro begins with the athlete's wrist, asking what a performance chronograph needs to be in terms of weight, comfort, and functional interface when worn during extended periods of intense physical activity rather than cockpit instrument operation or underwater work. Number 1. Breitling Chronomat B01 44 AB01 5. The Breitling Chronomat B01 44 reference. B01 theme claims the top position on this countdown as the single most complete, most authoritative, and most thoroughly Breitling expression of everything this manufacturer has built its reputation upon across nearly 140 years of instrument watchmaking. A chronograph that combines the iconic design heritage of the original 1984 Freccia Tricolore collaboration, the full technical authority of Breitling's in-house BZ1 movement, and a material specification in 18-karat gold that elevates the entire proposition into a conversation that transcends the professional tool watch category and arrives at the intersection of serious horology and genuine luxury with complete confidence and conviction. The KB0115 specification in 18-karat red gold transforms the Chronomat's familiar design architecture into something of immediate and undeniable visual authority. The warm, richly toned gold case giving the rider tab bezel, the integrated bracelet, and the bold dial elements. A depth and presence that the stainless steel variants, for all their considerable appeal, cannot replicate, and confirming that the Chronomat's design vocabulary is as well suited to precious metal execution as it is to the professional sport watch context from which it originated.